Have you ever heard of someone making $1 billion in a single day? Stanley Druckenmiller did. But his story goes far beyond just a remarkable figure. Famous for orchestrating the well-known bet against the British pound, he didn't just challenge the Bank of England. He also played a pivotal role in shaping global financial markets with his extraordinary foresight. What few realize is that his success wasn't simply the result of luck, but rather a fascinating blend of intelligence, boldness, and a unique understanding of economic phenomena. If you've ever wondered how to think like the giants of the market, get ready to dive into the mind of one of the most influential and brilliant investors in history and discover how his lessons can transform not just the markets, but your view of the world as well. And rise in the financial market. Stanley Druckenmiller didn't start out as a financial legend, but his rise is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, he grew up in a middle-class family where luxuries were scarce, but intellect was highly valued. Fascinated by economics, he immersed himself in his studies, earning degrees in English and economics from Duane College, a seemingly simple first step that would soon prove crucial. His career began in 1977 as an oil analyst at Pittsburgh National Bank, a job more of a window into the financial world than a personal achievement. Who could have predicted that this humble start would be the first step towards something historic? Soon Druckenmiller's talents began to shine. In less than 2 years he was promoted to head of research at the bank, but his ambitions were higher. Inspired by the challenge of deciphering market mystery, he founded Duane Capital Management in 1981. The company, built with courage and vision, served as a testing ground for his innovative ideas and strategies that would later be considered groundbreaking. Many young investors faced doubts at the beginning, but Druckenmiller seemed to have an insatiable curiosity and a natural ability to understand economic phenomena. One of his first major moves was adopting a macroeconomic approach, something few truly understood at the time. While many managers focused on specific stocks, he analyzed the impact of global events on the economy and capital market. This began to attract investors looking for truly intelligent management. His ability to connect the dots, from monetary crises to technological innovation, was remarkable. It's impressive to think that a young investor with just a few years of experience was already influencing the market in such a decisive way. His big breakthrough before becoming famous came when he had the opportunity to work for Dreyfus in 1985, where he took over a troubled fund and managed to turn its performance around. His influence grew, and his analysis was so respected that investors and peers described him as a visionary. He used to say he saw the market not as an exact science, but as an art, a blend of logic and intuition. This made him a unique manager with an extraordinary sensitivity to anticipate trends. It was this sensitivity that led him to be discovered by none other than George Soros, one of the most influential investors in history. Soros invited Druckenmiller to join the Quantum Fund in 1988, one of the most innovative and profitable funds of the time. This partnership would become a turning point in his career. Not only did he learn from Soros, but he also applied his own ideas to create even bolder strategies. This collaboration laid the groundwork for the most significant bet of his life. Each move Druckenmiller made was guided by a practical and confident mindset. He believed that to succeed, one must take calculated risks and always stay alert to changes in the global landscape. With this mindset, he was prepared for what many considered the most influential event of his career, the famous bet against the British pound. But that story, that one deserves to be broken down in detail in the next chapter. Partnership with George Soros and the bet against the pound. The partnership between Stanley Druckenmiller and George Soros was the kind of alliance that shapes financial history. When Druckenmiller joined the Quantum Fund in 1988, he brought a rare combination of strategic intelligence and boldness. Under Soros' leadership, he was free to test theories and create extraordinary strategies. The fund was already famous, but with Druckenmiller on board, they became virtually unbeatable. Together, they didn't just watch the market, they shaped it. And in 1992, they would write one of the most innovative and influential chapters in financial history, the famous bet against the British pound. The context for the attack on the pound was rooted in the European Monetary System, EMS, which aimed to stabilize the currencies of the European Union member states. However, the pound was facing serious economic issues, such as high inflation and interest rates that didn't align with its internal condition. Druckenmiller, with his macroeconomic approach, realized that the currency was doomed. He suggested a massive bet against the pound, something Soros immediately supported. It was an impressive example of how a combination of intuition and analysis could yield historic results. In practice, the strategy involved selling the pound in large quantities, betting that the Bank of England couldn't keep it within the limits set by the EMS key. Although many considered this move risky and even impossible, Druckenmiller was confident in his analysis. He understood that the economic fundamentals in Britain were too weak to support the pound's parity with other currencies. This vision was extraordinary and bold, but he didn't act alone. Soros gave the final push, convincing the fund to scale the bet to billions of dollars. On September 16, 1992, known as Black Wednesday, this strategy peaked. The Bank of England desperately tried to defend the pound, spending billions in reserves and raising interest rates, but couldn't resist the market pressure. Druckenmiller and Soros had made the right bet. The bank was forced to pull the pound out of the EMS, and the currency suffered a dramatic devaluation. The Quantum Fund made about $1 billion in a single day, solidifying their reputations as the best strategists of their generation. The impact of this event was historic. It not only redefined Britain's monetary policy, but also marked a turning point in the understanding of global market. Druckenmiller showed the world that looking beyond the obvious was the key to great success. He demonstrated that a strategic approach, grounded in a clear understanding of economic phenomena, could challenge even central banks. It's fascinating to think that, while many saw the EMS as an unbreakable fortress, he saw a brilliant opportunity. Death. Despite the success, Druckenmiller wasn't looking for glamour. He was discreet, preferring to let Soros take the spotlight, while he continued to refine his approach. After Black Wednesday, the Quantum Fund grew even more influential, but Druckenmiller kept a cool head. He knew that victory didn't guarantee future success, a lesson the market always reinforces. However, this episode solidified his place as one of the most intelligent and innovative investors in history. The partnership with Soros wasn't just about money. It was about strategy, learning, and vision. But what really made Druckenmiller unique was his ability to create his own theories and methods, which he would continue to develop throughout the years. The next big lesson in his financial life was about to be written, his strategies and philosophies that would make him a legendary figure in his own right. Let's explore that in the next chapter. Investment strategy and financial philosophy. Stanley Druckenmiller is remembered as one of the most influential investors of all time, and this is no accident. His investment strategy wasn't just based on data or mathematical model, but on something much broader and more innovative, a macroeconomic vision that connected global events with market movement. It wasn't just about seeking good returns. His goal was the extraordinary. His philosophy centered around two main pillars: the value of taking big positions when convinced, and the ability to exit quickly when realizing he was wrong. It sounds simple, but executing this approach required a rare level of emotional intelligence. One of Druckenmiller's maxims was, "You have to make a lot when you're right and lose little when you're wrong." To achieve this, he used a curious but highly effective technique, allocating large sums of capital into a few strong ideas. While many managers over-diversify to minimize risk, Druckenmiller believed in focus. He argued that, if you're sure about something, you should invest significantly. This wasn't just a strategy, it was a philosophy he consistently applied. For example, he was known for closely following central bank policy, knowing that these decisions shaped the market historically. Another fascinating aspect of his approach was the use of timing. Druckenmiller understood that the market is driven by cycles, both economic and emotional, and he knew how to anticipate them. He often said it was better to arrive a bit early than too late. This sensitivity to the right timing allowed him to enter and exit positions before other investors realized what was happening. A classic example of this was his decision to invest heavily in technology during the 90s internet bubble, a bold move that led to extraordinary returns. However, he also knew when the market's euphoria was about to end, avoiding large losses. Druckenmiller's curiosity about global phenomena led him to study various markets, from stocks to currencies and commodities. He said it was important to understand how the puzzle pieces fit together. What was happening in the US affected Asia, which in turn influenced Europe. This panoramic view is what made him a unique genius. He didn't follow trends. He anticipated if oil prices rose. He wanted to know how that would affect airlines, monetary policies, and even currency movements. This level of analysis required almost obsessive dedication. Another key aspect of his philosophy was flexibility. Druckenmiller didn't hold on to ideas or position. He said, "Don't marry a position, marry your vision." If he saw something wasn't working, he had the humility to change strategy quickly. This set him apart from many investors who fell into the ego trap and clung to losing position. An example of this was his ability to navigate the 2008 financial crisis, where, even amid chaos, he managed to generate positive returns for his investor. Druckenmiller also believed in the importance of keeping an open mind and continuously learning. He said the market was constantly evolving, and to stay on top, one must reinvent oneself. He was an avid reader of reports, news, and economic analysis. However, he also made sure to listen to different perspectives, valuing collective intelligence but always filtering the information through his own critical judgment. Finally, his philosophy went beyond money. He saw the market as an intellectual game, where curiosity and the pursuit of understanding global mysteries were more important than financial reward itself. But Druckenmiller knew that even the best strategists must be prepared for the unexpected. His ability to handle this would lead him to the next great chapter: how he managed one of the world's most respected funds. Management style at Duane Capital Management. Duane Capital Management, founded by Stanley Druckenmiller in 1981, wasn't just another investment fund. It was the stage where Druckenmiller demonstrated, over decades, his ability to manage billions of dollars with extraordinary effectiveness. His management style was as innovative as his investment philosophy, with decisions driven by a unique blend of detailed analysis and the boldness to act on a large scale. From the outset, Druckenmiller set a standard of excellence that transformed the fund into one of the most successful operations in history. Druckenmiller's management style was based on concentration and focus, a contrast to the traditional model of excessive diversification. He believed that to beat the market, one must identify innovative ideas and invest significantly. This didn't mean being reckless. Every move was calculated based on deep analysis and a sharp understanding of global phenomena. At Duane, he employed a macroeconomic strategy that explored currency, stocks, bonds, and commodities, always searching for historical opportunities that other investors overlooked. Another notable aspect of his management was flexibility. At Duane, Druckenmiller encouraged his team to question assumptions and quickly adjust positions when scenarios changed. He believed the market was like a living organism, full of mystery, and only intelligent, adaptable managers would survive. This style allowed the fund to avoid catastrophic losses during financial crises, such as the dot-com bubble in 2000 and the 2008 crisis. He often said, "Never let a small loss become something extraordinary," and with that, he led his team with a mix of rigor and agility. Druckenmiller was also an inspiring leader. Known for his discipline and high expectation, he gave his team the autonomy to explore ideas and present different viewpoints. He said a good manager must know how to listen, but the final decision had to align with the fund's macro vision. This combination of active listening and strategic authority created an innovative environment at Duane. It attracted brilliant minds who shared his curiosity and desire to understand markets deeply. Another pillar of his management was emotional leverage. Druckenmiller knew that the market wasn't just rational, but deeply influenced by human behavior. He was exceptional at identifying cycles of extreme optimism or pessimism and using them to his advantage. This psychological understanding was a powerful tool at Duane, where he often acted contrary to the market consensus to seize unique opportunities. He knew that to win in the market, one had to stay calm while others lost their heads. Even with impeccable management, Druckenmiller knew that no fund was invincible. In 2010, he made a historic decision. He closed Duane Capital Management, despite managing billions and having an enviable performance record. Why? He felt that the size of the fund was limiting his ability to generate extraordinary results. This decision was seen as smart and bold, showing that Druckenmiller wasn't motivated solely by money, but by his constant quest for excellence. In the end, Duane Capital Management was more than a fund. It was an extension of Druckenmiller's genius. His legacy as a manager is a model for investors seeking to combine intelligence, courage, and innovation. However, the impact of his decisions didn't just stop at his fund. It influenced global markets and shaped the thinking of a new generation of managers. But Druckenmiller didn't stop there. His views on the global economy continued to be heard with respect and curiosity. Let's explore these views in the next chapter. His views on the global economy and investments. Stanley Druckenmiller has always been more than just a brilliant investor. He's a strategic mind capable of seeing market movements as pieces of a global puzzle. His views on the economy go beyond simple analysis, as he considers a wide range of factors: monetary policy, economic cycle, human behavior, and even geopolitical events. He believes that the financial market is influenced by a network of interconnected variables, and to invest extraordinarily, one must understand how these elements connect. His curiosity about how the global economy functions is one of the reasons why his forecasts are often viewed as innovative and influential. One of his main beliefs is that central banks play a crucial role in financial markets. Druckenmiller closely monitors monetary policies and is known for identifying extraordinary patterns that other investors often overlook. He frequently warns about the risks of excessive stimulus, such as extremely low interest rates or massive stimulus packages, which can create bubbles and distort markets. For him, the phenomena created by uncontrolled money printing or rising debt always have inevitable consequences, such as inflation or monetary crises. He also believes in the power of economic cycle. Druckenmiller points out that the economy works in waves, with periods of expansion followed by contraction. The trick, according to him, is to identify where we are in the cycle and act accordingly. He is famous for having anticipated several financial crises, including the late 90s tech bubble and the 2008 crisis. His analysis combines a historical understanding of markets with the ability to interpret current signals, something that few can do with the same accuracy. Another key aspect of his views is the importance of positioning oneself in global markets. Druckenmiller never limited his investments to a single country or sector. He believes that globalization has created an extraordinary interdependence between economies, creating both simultaneous opportunities and risks. For example, he observed how China's economic expansion could drive commodity prices, affecting emerging economies, but also how slowdowns in China could create instability in Western markets. This global perspective makes him a reference for investors who wish to understand the mysteries of economic interaction. Additionally, Druckenmiller advocates for the idea that, in times of uncertainty, capital should be allocated more conservatively, but without abandoning the search for extraordinary opportunity. He is a fan of gold as a hedge against crises, but also adapts quickly to technological assets when he considers them well positioned for the future. During the 2020 pandemic, for example, he was one of the first to predict the K-shaped recovery, where technology sectors thrived while others struggled to survive. His view on the future of work and the economy is also fascinating. Druckenmiller often reflects on the impact of technological innovation on jobs and financial markets. He sees automation and artificial intelligence as inevitable transformation, but believes they must be managed responsibly to avoid extreme inequality. His interest in these issues goes beyond finance. He believes that the global economy must balance growth with social justice, a vision that makes him an influential contemporary thinker. For Druckenmiller, the financial market is a reflection of human nature, with its fears, greed, and hopes. He believes that to succeed, one must look not only at the numbers but at the behavior behind them. This intelligent and humanized approach is what makes him such a respected figure. His opinions continue to shape debates on the future of markets and the economy, but the lessons he has learned throughout his career also offer valuable insights for anyone seeking to understand this fascinating world. Let's explore these lessons in the next section. Key lessons learned throughout his career. Stanley Druckenmiller is undoubtedly a treasure trove of lessons for investors and thinkers in any field. Throughout his career, he has accumulated incredible wisdom on how to navigate the ups and downs of both the financial market and life itself. One of his most valuable lessons is the importance of protecting capital above all else. Druckenmiller believes that before attempting to make money, an investor must focus on not losing. This philosophy is an antidote to the impulsiveness that dominates many market participants. He frequently said, "Avoiding large losses is what keeps you in the game to take advantage of great opportunity." Another notable lesson is the power of conviction. Druckenmiller always emphasized that when you are certain about something, you must act decisively. He rejects the idea of excessive diversification, preferring to concentrate his investments in a few strategic bets. This principle, which might seem risky, worked for him because it was based on rigorous analysis and an extraordinary understanding of the market. One example of this was his famous bet against the British pound. He knew the risk was great, but his conviction was even greater. This lesson is powerful for anyone seeking to make bold decisions in life or business. Flexibility is another quality that Druckenmiller values deeply. He learned early on that being wrong is part of the game, but insisting on being wrong can be disastrous. His ability to quickly admit when he was wrong and adjust his strategy is something he always shared as a key to success. Many investors, caught up in their egos, resist abandoning losing position. Druckenmiller, on the other hand, saw this as an opportunity to learn and course-correct before the impact became devastating. Sir, the humility to acknowledge failures is a lesson that transcends the financial market. Druckenmiller also teaches the importance of understanding the interconnections between global events. He saw the economy as a vast ecosystem, where a movement in one part of the world could send ripples elsewhere. This broader perspective helped him identify trends and opportunities that others overlooked. One example of this was his intuition about how central bank monetary policies could simultaneously affect stock, bond, and currency markets. He knew that isolated knowledge was never enough. One had to connect the dots to see the bigger picture. Interestingly, patience is also one of his great lessons, but with a unique twist. Druckenmiller is famous for saying that it's not always necessary to be investing. He believed it was better to wait for extraordinary opportunities than to always be positioned in mediocre investment. This approach contrasts with the behavior of many investors who fear missing out on the market. He understood that the cyclical nature of the market would always offer new opportunities, as long as you had the discipline to wait for the right moment. Another valuable teaching from Druckenmiller is the importance of learning from others without abandoning your own judgment. He said advice is valuable, but in the end, the decision is yours. This mentality of personal responsibility is a solid foundation for any professional, especially in a field where opinions can vary greatly. He made sure to listen to experts but always filtered the information through his own analysis and experience. Finally, Druckenmiller believed that true success comes from a mix of hard work, curiosity, and passion for what you do. For him, the financial market was more than just numbers. It was an intellectual challenge that involved deciphering the mysteries of the world. This passion for continuous learning and personal growth is one of the greatest lessons he leaves to investors and anyone seeking excellence in any field. But even with so much accumulated wisdom, his market decisions often had an impact far beyond the financial realm. And it's precisely this global impact that we'll explore in the next chapter. The impact of his decisions on global financial markets. Stanley Druckenmiller wasn't just a successful investor. He was an architect of moves that shaped the global financial market. His decisions, often based on innovative macroeconomic analysis, influenced governments, central banks, and entire economies. One of the most historic impacts was his famous bet against the British pound, which redefined the UK's monetary policy and showed the world how market forces could challenge even the largest institution. This episode revealed a powerful truth. Global markets respond to economic fundamentals, and ignoring them can be disastrous. Druckenmiller also played a significant role in shaping investors' views on economic cycles and speculative bubbles. During the 90s, he not only benefited from the tech bubble, but also warned about the risks of excessive optimism. His strategic exit from tech investments before the 2000 collapse was an example of intelligence and timing. This move not only influenced other managers, but also regulators and economists, who began to pay more attention to signs of imbalances in the market. Another area where Druckenmiller had an impact was in understanding monetary policies and their relationship with capital market. He was one of the first to highlight how central bank decisions, such as those of the Federal Reserve, could either fuel bubbles or crises, depending on their approach. His frequent criticism of policies like extremely low interest rates and excessive money printing sparked important debates about economic stability and the limits of government intervention. Druckenmiller, with his influential vision, forced a global reevaluation of how markets and policies interact. His strategic moves also had an extraordinary impact on emerging economies. He recognized early that developing economies offered unique opportunities, but also tremendous risk. When he invested in markets like Brazil, China, and Russia, he not only captured large gains but also helped attract global attention to these markets. His influence was so strong that many global investors followed his decisions as indicators of confidence or caution toward specific regions. Moreover, Druckenmiller showed the world that hedge funds didn't just have the power to influence companies, but also entire countries. His macroeconomic strategies demonstrated that large capital flows could destabilize currencies or financials, prompting many governments to adjust their currency and fiscal policy. He helped uncover the mysteries behind market volatility and how external forces could affect the nation's internal economic balance. A significant impact was also his disciplined approach to risk management. Druckenmiller not only inspired other investors to be more strategic, but also pressured large institutions to rethink how they allocated capital and managed exposure to losses. His philosophy of lose little, make a lot became a mantra for fund managers around the world, influencing a generation of professionals to prioritize safety without abandoning ambition. Finally, Druckenmiller's impact went beyond the financial sphere. He redefined the role of the investor as a global strategist, someone who doesn't just seek profit, but interprets and, in some cases, shapes economic and social phenomena. But Druckenmiller didn't limit his influence to the market. He also used it to make meaningful contributions in other areas, including philanthropy and social responsibility, which we will explore in the next chapter. Philanthropic contributions and vision of social responsibility. Stanley Druckenmiller didn't just accumulate wealth throughout his career. He also used it to make a positive impact on the world. Despite his pragmatic approach to investment, his vision of social responsibility has always been guided by an extraordinary sense of purpose and compassion. He believes that when financial success is achieved, it's essential to give something back to society, and his philanthropic contributions reflect this philosophy deeply. Druckenmiller channeled his fortune into various causes, including education, healthcare, fighting poverty, and supporting vulnerable communities. One of the areas where Druckenmiller has excelled is education. He believes that the key to building a better future is access to quality education. For this reason, he and his wife Fiona have been major supporters of institutions that promote educational equality. They've donated millions of dollars to universities and programs that help disadvantaged youth access higher education. One of their most influential projects was supporting the Harlem Children, an organization that transforms the lives of thousands of children in New York through educational and community development programs. Druckenmiller is also a strong advocate for medical research. He understands that medical innovation is crucial for improving global quality of life. His donations include millions directed toward research for neurodegenerative diseases, such as Alzheimer's, and advancing medicine in general. He has also contributed significantly to hospitals and health centers, ensuring that his resources positively impacted both local and global communities. His commitment to health reflects his belief that extraordinary progress in science benefits everyone. Moreover, he didn't hesitate to act in times of crisis. After Hurricane Sandy, Druckenmiller made generous donations to help recover affected communities, showing his sensitivity to act in emergency situations. He also supports initiatives to fight poverty and reduce inequality, areas he considers crucial for creating a more balanced and just society. His philanthropic work is guided by the belief that wealth has the power to solve historical problems and transform lives. Another interesting aspect of his philanthropy is that he doesn't just donate but gets personally involved in the causes he supports. He prefers to know exactly how the resources will be used and insists on ensuring that his contributions are applied effectively and transparently. This level of involvement is rare among major donors and reflects his strategic mindset, both in investments and his personal life. For Druckenmiller, every dollar must have an extraordinary impact. His philanthropic vision also includes a deep concern for future generations. Druckenmiller is known for being a critic of excessive debt policies, which he believes are detrimental to young people and shift an unjust financial burden onto the future. He frequently uses his influence to debate economic policies that promote sustainability and intergenerational balance. It's fascinating how he connects his financial success to such a wide-reaching social responsibility. Ultimately, Druckenmiller's commitment to philanthropy not only reflects his fortune, but also his conviction that true success lies in improving people's lives. He demonstrated that great achievements happen not only in financial markets, but also in how you choose to impact the world around you. But, as with any successful career, his path also faced criticisms and controversy, a topic we'll explore in the next chapter. Criticisms and controversies in his career. While widely recognized as one of the greatest investors of all time, Stanley Druckenmiller has not been immune to criticisms and controversies that often accompany prominent figures in the financial market. One of the main criticisms of his career has been the aggressive nature of some of his investment strategy, which, according to his detractor, contributed to destabilizing economies and negatively impacting entire populations. The most famous episode, his bet against the British pound in 1992, is one example of this. While it generated extraordinary profits, many questioned the social and economic consequences for the United Kingdom. Additionally, his philosophy of betting heavily on a few strategic ideas also sparked debates. Some argue that this approach, while innovative, could encourage overly risky practice, especially in emerging markets. During times of crisis, such as the collapse of the tech bubble in 2000, he was criticized for quickly entering and exiting positions, which, for some, further fueled market volatility. However, Druckenmiller has always defended his decisions as necessary to protect his investors and the capital under his management. Another point of controversy was his firm stance against prolonged stimulus policy, such as extremely low interest rates or excessive money printing, measures he considers harmful in the long run. While his criticisms are widely respected, many experts disagree with his pessimistic view of central bank intervention. They argue that, in times of crisis, such policies are necessary to prevent greater economic collapse. Druckenmiller, however, has remained firm, asserting that these policies only delay bigger problems, creating bubbles that eventually burst. Throughout his career, he also faced scrutiny for closing Duane Capital management in 2010. Though he made the decision to preserve excellence and avoid mediocre returns, some investors and analysts viewed it as an abrupt move during an economic transition. For Druckenmiller, however, it was a strategic choice, one that he always maintained was the best decision to preserve his reputation and the management principles he upheld. In addition to criticisms about his financial strategy, Druckenmiller has also come under public scrutiny for the impact of his public statement. As an influential voice in global market, his comments often triggered sharp movements in the market, something that is not always well received. For instance, when he expressed concerns about the U.S. markets in recent years, his remarks sparked intense debates among analysts who saw his opinions as alarmist. Despite all these controversies, Druckenmiller rarely found himself involved in scandals or unethical behavior, which is extraordinary in an industry often marked by legal disputes and irregularity. He has always maintained an ethical and disciplined stance, focused on delivering extraordinary results to his investors. Even his most criticized decisions were based on rigorous analysis and a long-term vision, which sets him apart from many other fund managers. Ultimately, the controversies surrounding Druckenmiller only serve to reinforce the magnitude of his influence in his career. He always said that he would rather be right and criticized than follow the consensus just to avoid controversy. And indeed, his career continues to inspire and teach valuable lessons, even amid the debates he provokes. His legacy as an extraordinary investor and an inquisitive mind transcends the challenges he faced, offering an inexhaustible source of learning for those seeking to understand the mysteries of global market. Druckenmiller's legacy in the world of investment. Stanley Druckenmiller's legacy extends far beyond the billions he accumulated or the successful bets that defined his career. He is a living example of how a combination of intelligence, vision, and courage can transform the financial market. His strategic approach and ability to anticipate global trends set new standards in the investment, making him an influential and admired figure. Druckenmiller didn't just generate extraordinary returns, he also left lasting lessons on how to navigate an ever-changing economic environment. One of the most profound aspects of his legacy is his contribution to popularizing macroeconomic analyses in investment strategy. Before Druckenmiller's influence, few fund managers ventured to integrate such a broad global analysis that included international events, monetary policy, and their effects on financial markets. Druckenmiller, however, incorporated macroeconomics into his approach, allowing him to identify historical patterns and long-term trends. This inspired a new generation of investors who didn't just focus on a company's financial, but began to analyze the global landscape and interconnected market dynamic. In addition to this, Druckenmiller pioneered the application of concentrated investing. Rather than excessively diversify, he opted to invest significantly in a few strong ideas, which allowed him to achieve extraordinary returns. His belief in taking big bets when he was confident in an idea became one of the core principles of his approach. This philosophy has influenced many fund managers who, although more conservative in their approach, have adopted elements of his strategy. Druckenmiller's impact can also be seen in how he managed his fund, Duane Capital Management. Over the years, he established a culture based on flexibility, innovation, and responsibility. His successes and failures were opportunities for learning, both for him and his team, and his rigorously analytical approach allowed the fund to stand out in the investment world. Even after closing Duane, Druckenmiller's reputation as a manager remains a reference point for current investors. Another important part of his legacy is how he shared his knowledge with others. Druckenmiller has been a generous mentor to many young investors throughout his career, helping to shape a new generation of managers who share his approach to deep analysis and informed decision-making. Moreover, his commitment to financial education has been an integral part of his legacy, serving as an inspiration for those seeking to follow in his footsteps. Finally, Druckenmiller has shown that success in the financial markets isn't just about generating large profits, but about positively influencing the world beyond finance. Through his philanthropic contributions and focus on social justice, he has used his wealth to support important causes such as education, healthcare, and fighting poverty. His legacy isn't just an example of success in the investment world. It's also an inspiration for those who seek to make a significant difference in society. Philanthropic contributions and vision of social responsibility. Stanley Druckenmiller has used his wealth in a way that reflects his deep sense of social responsibility. Throughout his career, he has been an active advocate for philanthropy, donating large sums to causes he considers fundamental for the well-being of future generations. From education to healthcare, fighting poverty to promoting social justice, Druckenmiller has channeled his resources into projects that aim to create a more balanced and just world. One of the main focuses of his philanthropy has been education. Believing strongly that access to quality education is key to a better future, Druckenmiller has invested in initiatives that provide disadvantaged youth with the tools they need to succeed. Through donations to university and scholarship programs, he has opened doors for those who otherwise wouldn't have access to higher education. Furthermore, he has supported projects such as the Harlem Children's Zone, an organization that has transformed the lives of thousands of children in New York. In the healthcare field, Druckenmiller has funded research into neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and invested in hospitals and health centers to improve medical care in underserved communities. His philanthropic approach reflects a deep belief in the power of science to improve people's lives and the importance of ensuring that medical advancements reach everyone, regardless of their economic status. He has also demonstrated a strong commitment during times of crisis. His donation after Hurricane Sandy was just one example of his willingness to intervene quickly when helping affected communities. Additionally, he has invested in projects aimed at alleviating poverty and reducing social inequalities he views as essential for a more equitable society. Lastly, Druckenmiller's vision of social responsibility extends to future generations. He has used his influence to debate policies affecting young people, particularly those related to public debt and sustainability. He is convinced that the economic future depends on making responsible decisions today to avoid burdening future generations with unsustainable financial loads. In summary, Stanley Druckenmiller's legacy is not only measured by his successes in financial markets but by his lasting impact on society. He has shown that true success comes from combining financial intelligence with a genuine desire to do good in the world. His contributions in philanthropy, combined with his exceptional career, provide a powerful example of how individuals can use their wealth and influence to address global challenges and make a meaningful difference.